I'm telling you, that was like one of the worst moments of my life. I knew I was going to live, but in my mind, the thought was like, I could have died. What's up, beauties? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Brittany, and on this channel, I share my journey as a stay-at-home mom and a military wife living in Japan. But today, I want to share with you my alopecia story. So, I just wanted to share my journey with my alopecia because my hope is that it inspires someone to embrace like where you are in your hair journey, in your life, in your health journey. Do what you can to support you know, your hair care and your body and your health, but at the same time just embracing it no matter what stage you're at, you know. So I'll just start from the top of when I found out I had alopecia. So I was a junior in college and I was getting my hair done, and the lady who was doing my hair, she was washing my hair. I think at this time I was gonna do like a shortcut, and we were, you know, she was combing through my hair to style it, and she's like, Brittany, you have a little small clean patch in the crown of your head. And you know, she was like scratching it to make sure that no hair was there coming out of the follicle. It was like a smooth patch, but it was like the size of a, I don't know, it was about this big if you can kind of see that circle. So it was smaller than a dime. And so I was like, okay, so we just watched it, and it started to kind of grow over time, like over, I would say like a course of like 6 months to a year. It started to grow, but not like a significant amount, just very subtle. So I ended up going to a dermatologist, and he did like some skin grafting, and he did diagnose me with traction alopecia. So he gave me a few options. He's like, we can do steroids and, you know, steroid shots, or what else did he say? Like, you know, you can wait until to see like if it grows anymore or whatever. I think like those were the two options. Like either you can get it or not. That's what it was. And so at that time I decided, you know what, let me just go ahead and try the steroid shots. And so I was trying them, and something in me just didn't feel right about it. So I only did like 3 sessions of the steroid shots, and according to him, he's like, it could either make your hair grow back, but you have traction alopecia, so more than likely the follicle is damaged, and it's not the type of alopecia where your hair falls out and it grows back. It falls out in patches and it grows back. And your alopecia starts in one area and the follicle pretty much dies, and the hair around it can grow stronger to kind of cover it up, or we can stop the growth with stop the spread of the traction alopecia with the steroid shots. So I was like, okay, let's try it. But again, I only did like 3 sessions, and I just didn't want steroids, you know, in that sense. And granted, I didn't know much about the medicine that he was giving me, and I was just like, I don't want that in my body. I don't want anything in my body. I'm really weird about like medicine in my body or different chemicals and stuff like that. I just, if I don't have to have it, like I'm not gonna have it, you know. So years went on, and the spot did get bigger. It was a slow growth, so it went from like smaller than a dime to like a dime to like a quarter size. But I've always worn short cuts, and when I graduated from college, I moved to California, and the look that I was rocking while I was in California was a really good look for my alopecia, because I had started to thin on the side here a little bit, where I was having some, I found another alopecia spot like on the side of my hair here, and I was starting to thin on my edges, but not like all of my edges, just like a little spot I had, you know, that was like less than a dime size as well. But how I was wearing my hair was like how, you know, with the, I had a swoop here, it was short on one side, and I relaxed the side, so I was able to like lay it down. I was able to cover up the top, and my swoop covered up my side. So it was very, it didn't bother me, I guess you would say. And I still probably should not have been doing bonding glue in the top of my hair, because I was still adding hair pieces in the top to, you know, really get the fullness of my bangs with that look that I had. It was short on the side. So I really wanted my bangs, you know, this side of my hair to be really full. So I did add like some pieces to it, but I was using bonding glue still. Eventually, I stopped using bonding glue altogether because I realized that probably is one of the reasons that, I can't say for sure, you know, but I was trying to eliminate as many things that I could that, you know, I could try to narrow down what could be causing the alopecia, or what could be making it worse, you know, or what's not benefiting it, what's not helping it. And the bonding glue was the one thing, and I was like, I can get rid of this. You know, I can do clip-ins, I can do sew-ins. So that's what I started to do. I started to do clip-ins for my pieces in the front. And that helped. You know, it wasn't like the bonding glue, but it, you know, that helped. And the sew-ins right here really did not work for me because it was just, I don't know, it was just weird. And I don't like a closure at all. So I just did clip-ins and that worked. So I left out a really big part. So in I think it was 2009, I was a victim of a random act of violence. That's the only way I can explain this ridiculous story. But I was living in LA. It was, I think it was, yeah, like 2009, I want to say was the year. And my girlfriends and I were leaving the club, and we were standing outside the club waiting for one of my girlfriend's boyfriend to pick us up, you know, because he was like, oh, you guys can just wait here. It was like 6 of us, you know, maybe 7 of us. He's like, you guys just wait here, I'll go get the car. So we were like, okay. While we were waiting, there was this group of guys that was like standing close to us, and they started to harass us. They were young guys, and so they were not in the club. So they probably were not even 21 because they couldn't even get in the club. They were not in the club. They were just outside the club being very, I don't know what the word to use, like a menace. That's the only word I can think of right now. But anyways, it was the BET Awards, so you know, people were looking for trouble. They were looking for people that were out of town, that came into LA that they could rob, take advantage of, or whatever. And I guess they decided that we were going to be their victims that night, and they started to harass us. And we started to, you know, push it back on the harassment, like, you know, leave us alone, we're good. Long story short, one of the guys inappropriately did something to one of my girlfriends, and she pepper sprayed him. And when she pepper sprayed him, the wind was a little high, so the wind came back on her, and it kind of blew in her eyes. And as it was blowing in her eyes, he like punched her in the face. So when he punched her in the face, that took us all off guard, and we went to her aid, you know, like, oh heck no. And once we retaliated against him, his friends retaliated against us, and one of the friends ended up hitting me in the head with a brick, and I had to get 27 staples in the top of my head. And I'm telling you, that was like one of the worst moments of my life. I knew I was going to live, but in my mind, the thought was like I could have died because of the blow that I took to the top of my head. But because I had to get 27 staples in the top of my head, it was directly in the same area where my alopecia was, so it made the spot even bigger. So as I was trying to recover from the staples, the bruising, you know, the incision mark from the staples, I would wear like little head wraps, little turbans and stuff like that while I was recovering. And once I got my staples removed and I was like clear to do whatever I wanted to do to my hair, wash my hair, shampoo my hair, whatever, I started to go back to using the clip-ins and doing my style that I had before with the bangs here. But I had a lot more scarring to cover, you know. It was just getting bigger because of the scar and because of the incision with the staples. Fast forward to when I got married in 2013. In 2014, after I had my baby, I decided to go natural because my spot was starting to get even bigger. It was starting to get even bigger. So I'm like, okay, my spot is getting bigger. What can I do to, you know, help my alopecia? And relaxers was the one thing that I was like, okay, I can get rid of relaxers. So I went natural. I cut my hair very short like it is now. I dyed it blonde, like kind of like what it is now. And I just went natural, you know. Over time, I feel like it has helped my alopecia. At times I feel like my alopecia is still growing, you know. But I think that that was the best thing that I could have done for my hair, is to go natural. You know, if I had kept using relaxers and bonding glue and putting like a lot of tension on my hair with sew-ins and things like that, it probably would have made it worse. And the reason why I say that is because we're gonna fast forward all the way to last summer. I got a sew-in. And after I took my sew-in out, this was before I cut my hair, after I took that sew-in out, I lost so much hair. Oh my gosh. Because of the tension that the sew-in, and the stylist did an amazing job, phenomenal stylist, amazing stylist, but my hair just couldn't take the tension of a sew-in. I don't even think it mattered who did it. You know, it wouldn't have mattered who did it. It's just the fact that my hair and my scalp is too delicate for any type of tension. So I ended up cutting my hair like this this year because I was like, you know what, let's just start over. You know, I've been through so many hairstyles. I had faux locks when we moved out here in 2021, and that was cool, but I really didn't like the vibe of faux locks. You know, they gave me kind of a, I don't know, they made me feel a little frumpy. That's the only thing that that's the only word that I have for the faux locks, is they made me feel a little frumpy. They didn't make me feel confident and like myself, and you know, it wasn't giving that girl. So I had to go ahead and cut those off, and that's when I got the sew-in. And after the sew-in, my hair started to like just fall out. And granted, it was right after I had my baby, so I don't know, that could have had something to do with it as well, with the hormones. But let me backtrack really quickly. Before I went natural, I did see another dermatologist here in 2014 when I was here in Japan the first time. Right before I went natural, for the very first time, I went to the dermatologist and he put more steroids injections into my scalp. And that was when I really was like, okay, no, I don't want no more steroid injections. It's not gonna do anything because my follicle is completely covered. So that happened in 2009, and like I said, you know, I ended up going natural once we moved here in 2014. And where I am in my alopecia journey now is I don't care. That's where I'm at now. I am at a full-blown like acceptance mode with my alopecia, and I don't want to say I don't care, but let me not say I don't care, because I do care. It's just the fact that I feel like there's nothing I can do to make my hair come back other than hair transplant. And I am considering a hair transplant because you know, I would like to wear my hair in different styles, you know, once I decide to grow it out or whatever. But I'm considering a hair transplant, but it's not something that I have to have. I feel like when I rock my hair now, I do have alopecia right here in the top. And I do have some thinning here on this side. This side is good, but this side is where I start to like really see my thinning. But I don't, you know, a lot of times I just rock my hairstyle and I don't worry about it. You know, I just feel so confident in who I am. I don't even worry about my bald spot. You know, I don't freak out about it. I know it's there. If you see it, like, some people might ask, some people might give like their unsolicited advice on what I should do to try to recover my hair naturally with oils and things like that, not knowing the damage that I have to my scalp in that area, and that hair is never going to grow back because of the staples, because of the injury, because of the type of alopecia that I have. So the hair around it I can strengthen, and I do take care of the hair that I have, and I take care of my scalp. And even, you know, I nurture that part of my scalp by massaging it. I use the Mielle peppermint drops. It's like the growth drops. I use those and I just kind of massage that area of my head, the temples, you know, right here where I'm starting to thin a little bit there. And you know, that's all I can do. You know, I just try to strengthen the hair that's around the area, and that's all I can do, you know. So if you are dealing with alopecia, or you feel like you may have alopecia, I would highly recommend that you go see a dermatologist to see what type of alopecia you have. There are several different types of alopecia. I have traction alopecia, which is also known as hot comb alopecia. Okay, so there are different types of alopecia, and I went ahead and looked them up so that I could just tell you. So there is alopecia areata, and that's where you have like little spots that your hair falls out in little spots, but the hair does grow back. So that's that one. There's scarring, hair loss alopecia, traction alopecia that comes from just pulling and tugging and really like scarring the scalp, a situation that happened to me. You know, I had traction alopecia, and then now I have with the staples scarring alopecia, because I actually scarred my scalp and damaged my scalp with the staples. So there's that one. There's androgenetic alopecia, and you'll just have to go and look these things up. Alopecia totalis, diffuse alopecia areata. There's chemotherapy induced alopecia. There is alopecia that you can get from like a fungus. And so there are several different forms of alopecia or types of alopecia across the board, and you just have to see which one, you know, you may have, and know how to treat it, how to support your scalp and your hair depending on the type of alopecia you have. So I just wanted to make this video because if you are following my channel, if you are subscribed, which you should be subscribed, become a beauty, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. You will see as I'm doing my hair that I have a big bald spot here, and you know, I just wanted to speak on it and to hopefully encourage someone who is going through this currently, who may feel like, oh my gosh, I don't know what this is, what do I do? Go see a dermatologist immediately so that you can have some options on what you need to do for your hair. You know, you can also see a trichologist, which is a beautician who studies the scalp, and they can really help you with like scalp therapy and treatment and things like that. And like I said, for me, one of the solutions that I have is just keeping my hair low. I really don't care about showing it. If I do decide to grow my hair out one day, you know, maybe I'll consider getting a hair implant here soon. Like I said, it's something that I have been thinking about, but we'll see. But if you have alopecia, consider just accepting it, embracing it. Try not to allow it to get you down, make you feel depressed, make you feel less than. A lot of women cover up their alopecia, which is completely fine. And when I say embrace it, I'm not saying that you have to show it to embrace it, but embrace it in a way that it's like, I'm gonna do the best thing I can to support my scalp and my hair. Now, one thing I forgot, and I need to mention this, is something that was brought up to me was an autoimmune disease. So sometimes if you have an autoimmune disease, it can really promote alopecia. And I don't have an autoimmune disease, but I did have like nodules on my thyroid. So getting your thyroid checked is very important, because I did have nodules, small nodules on my thyroid, and I was reading and researching on my own that hyperthyroid or hypothyroid can lead to alopecia, and that could be a correlation. It's not like a guaranteed, yes, this is what causes it, but if you are dealing with alopecia, something to consider or to get checked is your thyroid. So, which reminds me of the fact that, you know, I have to watch things that could cause my thyroid. I don't have hyper or hypothyroid. I did have the little nodules, but you know, I'm just monitoring them. So I'm just basically very aware of like what I eat to try not to, I guess, cause any growth there, you know? So just a little something to throw out there. I'm not a doctor. I don't know everything about having alopecia, what causes it, how to treat it, any of those things, but this is the things, these are the things that has helped me along the way, and some of the things that I've learned. But if you have alopecia, leave me a comment down below and let me know what type of alopecia you have, and leave some comments for the beauties if you have any tips, advice, as you have been going through your journey with alopecia, for the rest of the beauties, so that we can know like, okay, I'll try this, I'll try that. Because sometimes you get to a place where you're like, you know what, let me just try this, I haven't tried that before, you know. And then sometimes you're at a place like me, I'm just like, you know what, I'm done trying all the natural things. My next step, if I do decide to do anything about my alopecia, will be a hair transplant. So, but anyways, beautiful, thank you so much for watching the video. I hope that it was helpful to you. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video, if you feel like it was helpful, so that we can continue to grow this channel. Make sure you comment down below and let me know if you have alopecia, if you know someone that have alopecia, if you know any tips, tricks, anything like that, for all the beauties that are subscribed to the channel and the new incoming beauties, so they can see that as well. And make sure that you give this video I already told you that. Girl, give this video a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next video. Okay, all right, bye beautiful.